Okay, guys, welcome to Challenge B Semester 2. We are off and running. Yay! We had a great week 1 today. I was just feeling so joyful to be back after a break, and I hope your break was restful and you were able to have some nice downtime. But we are back and ready to go, and I feel like there's a lot of new stuff, a lot of new that's for me and a new that's for them. So I have a few things to tell you, so I will try to make this brief. We started the day with devotions. We're going to keep going with Proverbs. So we're on Proverbs 16 this week, and we focused on verse 9. I sent a picture of the verse into the group me, but just a nice time. I have them kind of put the verse into their own words and what do they think it means, and just talking about if we found that verse comforting or a little bit scary, or what our honest feelings that verse brought up. So that was really good. So if they want to continue reading the Proverbs at home, I'm just loving that time with them. So we were off and running, and we started the day with Latin. We are beginning to study passive verbs in Latin. So we did a total review of verbs and the difference between active and passive verbs, and we compared those. And so now we have new sets of endings. So we are still in the active system. That means the present, the imperfect, and the future. But now we are going to be talking about the passive voice. So that means we have a whole new sets of endings. And those rules really just need to be memorized. So this week they are doing the second half of lesson 16 and the first half of lesson 17. So it's in the guide, pages 169 to 181. So they are doing great with that, and I'm really proud of all of us for how great we are doing in Latin. And then we moved on to our brand new intermediate logic book. We are on lessons 1 through 5 last week, and then again this week. So we have 2 weeks on those same lessons. On Saturday, we watched the videos. Reese Ocon and her mom were able to come over and watch, and I really, really feel like the DVDs for this are going to be so helpful. So if you haven't had a chance to read or watch those, I would really do it this week if you're able. So we did lessons 1 through 3 in class, and I had a lot of like aha moments with them, and they were really seeming like they got it, and we're actually getting a little bit pumped for this. I really think some of them are really going to enjoy our intermediate logic. And we read the intro together because I just think the intro is really neat too. How logic is both a science and an art, and how when we're able to use it well, we're able to find out truth. And so I think that's really awesome and could be really exciting and fun. So we did that. So this week, if they didn't do any lessons 1 through 5, they're going to need to do that. But next week in class, we'll be focusing on lessons 4 and 5, I think. So let me know what y'all think, and don't forget to check out the DVDs. All right, the next thing that we did was math in the logic strand. I actually had a little puzzle for them to solve, and then I actually did a little lesson talking about percents of fractions. So ask them about that if you want. And then I am going to start assigning 2 students to present math problems. I gave them another sheet reminding them how to lead a 5 common topic discussion for math. So they're to choose one math problem, something that was interesting or hard or whatever math problem they want, and then lead a 5 common topic discussion about it. So next week is going to be Elena and Eli. They both volunteered to go first. So they're for next week, and then I'll be assigning 2 students every week and just trying to up our game a little bit in the logic strand for this semester. The next thing that we did was research our brand new book, Defeating Darwinism. So we read the introduction of that together, and then we talked about how we're going to be using the highlighting system. Some of your students were really excited about the highlighting system, but basically it's in the back of the guide, and you use a different color for different things. So it's like 5 different colors, and each color is kind of means something different. So you can check that out in the back. And if you want to use that, that's fine. The goal, according to the CC bar, is to read the chapter a couple of times and then to create their own outline of what they thought was the most important information each week. So this week they're reading chapter 1, and then they're going to be making an outline, and I gave them a sample outline that they can kind of fill in. It's really simple, but to just kind of give them something that they might want to use for the future. So they're to read it, highlight it, and make an outline out of it. So that book, like I said, is we pointed out today that it is like a high school or even early college level book. So it is a little more difficult, but I think it's going to be really great. So we talked about what we knew about Darwin already, the things that the book was trying to prove, and the main thing that it's trying to prove is there a God that cares about what I do? So, what an awesome thing. And it's really to teach them how to think critically and how to look at this whole topic of evolution like a scientist and see if they're able to open their minds to think about it in a critical point of view and how it really is an ideology and not necessarily a science. So, I think it'll be interesting to go through together. All right. So let's see. Then the next thing that we did was lunch, and then we came back for short stories. Your kids were so excited about the short stories book. We went through what makes a story a good story, characters we love, what makes a character good. Is it the fact that they're relatable? And we all agreed that we like when they're relatable, but mostly we like when they elicit a strong response. So we either love them or we hate them. We talked about the worst villains and what they make us feel like and how an author is able to create such a strong character. So we talked about the parts of the story, that little diagram in the beginning of the book, how conflict and resolution and all of those things, all of the parts of a story. This week they are going to be reading um, 4 short stories. After each short story, there's some thought-provoking questions. They can do them orally with you. They can write them down. One of the cool things the guide is asking them to do is to look for the theme of each story and see if you can identify the theme and if you can bring a Bible verse that goes with the theme. So I think that's pretty cool. And then we're going to talk about next week, during this week, they're going to come up with 5 or so ideas of what they would like to write their short story about. So they're going to bring those into class with them next week. So kind of maybe some themes they want to explore or some ideas that they have, and we're going to talk about them and see what their peers think of their ideas. So I think that will be good. We ended the day with a mock trial. We had a great time. Well, the first thing we did was we tabbed. I thought I had it here, but I don't. But we tabbed our books. I had some tabs, and then some of them had their own, and we tabbed each section of the book. So I feel so good about being organized about that. And then I just went exactly through. I'm going to do it. I feel like the guide is laid out really well. So I'm going to do exactly what the in-community portion tells me to do each and every week. So this week we focused on section 4 and section 2 because that's what it told me to do in the guide. This week, though, they are getting into already the witness statements. So they're going to read a couple things, and then they're going to start with 2, Emerson, Turkin, and London Packard, their witness statements. So what's really neat about this is they're taking what the witness statement is, they're reading it a couple times, highlighting it, and then they're rewriting that in their own words. And then there is in the back of the guide how to rewrite it if they're having any issues with that. How it's the same facts but rewriting it in their own words, and they don't have to go crazy with this. It can be basically the same, but they're just rewriting it for understanding. And then what they're going to do is they're going to bring these into class. So I want you to print them out and bring them to me or handwrite them. And I'm going to start a file for each character. So I'll have a file for Emerson, Turkin of everybody's witness statements that they've rewritten. And then when Emerson, Turkin, the role is assigned, whoever it goes to will get that file of all the witness statements to use as they're preparing for their role. So I think that's something that works really well, and I'm really excited about, and they were really excited about too. And they're also supposed to make a timeline, one for each witness statement, using the dates and times of the events given in the statement. And then we're going to work on making, as a class, like a master timeline of everything that happened. I feel better about mock trial just being all together. I feel excited. Not that I felt bad about it, but maybe just a little nervous. But I think it's going to be great because they're so excited. I feel like this is laid out really well. We don't need any outside information other than the guide. I think it's going to be great. I would like to have a meeting maybe next week if it works for everyone, where we just kind of talk about the things that we need on the day and leading up to the day, and kind of get some idea of who's going to do what. I need some volunteers to help with a few things, and once we have that all squared away, we're just going to go week by week, and I think it's going to be great and really fun. And don't forget, April 30th is our mock trial day. All right, guys, I just had the greatest day. I feel like it went really well, and I hope your kids felt the same. If they tell you differently, I would be surprised because everyone seemed happy and engaged and just doing really great today with everything in every subject. I felt like everyone was talking and participating and happy. They seemed happy, so I hope that's the case. Anyways, guys, have a great week too, and I will see you on Monday. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.